Money, 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 money.
Aside from allergy season, tax season is one of the most dreaded times of the year. For accountants, I'm sure, as well,
Yeah.
busy season. And with so many rules, requirements, and regulations, it is important to know the facts before you send off your taxes to the IRS, because you don't want those people on you.
No. And that is where our next guest comes in. Joining us this morning to set the record straight on some of the most common tax myths is tax expert, host, and avid reader, and avid writer, Luis Barajas. Bienvenidos.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. I'm excited to be with you guys this morning.
We have a lot of questions. Are you ready? Are you prepared?
Go ahead. Send them.
Okay.
Let's see.
First and foremost, in case you're still unclear on this, please remind our viewers, when is the last possible day to file the taxes, and when is the last day to pay off any owed taxes from last year?
Excellent question.
Okay, so April 18th this year is the last day, but you can file an extension that's pretty much automatic until October 16th of this year. But if you're going to owe taxes, you have to pay them by April 18th, not by October 16th. Otherwise, you're going to pay interest and you're going to pay some penalties. So might as well get them done, and if not, guesstimate and then send the money in if you think you're going to owe money by April 18th. Now, real quick, you can also do an IRA this year and take a deduction for last year until April 18th, so you still have time.
You still have time.
Okay.
I got to tell you, when I file them digitally, and I always, there's that day where I open up I get the alert, and I'm like, oh, I paid my, I paid my taxes. But that brings us to our next question. Is it better, and I don't want to say better, but what is really the difference between using an online service or a tax expert like an accountant or someone like that to file our taxes?
So basically, doing it yourself versus using a professional, right? So look, I'm going to share with you that I think that most people should be doing their own tax returns, especially if you're a W-2 employee and just have a regular, mortgage, interest, and property tax, a couple kids, and the spouse. Do your own tax return. Really, it's not that complicated. But if you have your own business, you're doing sideline businesses, you have rental properties, you incorporate, please use a professional. I can't tell you how many times I've had to amend tax returns to help people out because they've done them wrong and they've lost opportunities to take much more deductions than they think they can. Interesting.
But you are a professional. So you've read every single book on that bookshelf behind you. And you've written 5 and you have a 6th coming out. So you're still going to stand by that? Do your own?
I want to have my kids do them.
Wow.
Listen, when you do your own tax return, you're going to learn a lot about taxes. You can learn about what else you can take a deduction or what you don't need to take a deduction. Some people show up with every single year with a whole bunch of medical bills, and they haven't been able to take them for 20 years because they've never really paid attention. So you can do it. It's really simple. And now with all the new technology, it's not that complicated.
Well, I was just going to say, I actually have been for the last few years doing my own taxes via TurboTax. And I have to say, I'm like basically illiterate with all of this kind of stuff, but it was very simple and it took me less than half an hour, I think.
Wow, look at you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So if I can do it, you can too. Let's talk about dependents though, because there's some, you need to know, there are things to know about claiming the children and human children, that is.
And your pets and Yeah, so look, if you've got a kid that's under the age of 19 or up to 18 years old, right, you can take them as a dependent. And even if they're making money, right, they're working part-time, going to school and paying for their own little bills, you can still take them as a dependent as long as you're providing more than half of the support and they're living with you. If they're a full-time student, you can take them up to the age of 23, so it's under the age of 4, right? Now, but what happens if you got that 25-year-old kid who hasn't found his life passion, is at home, hasn't worked all year? Well, you can take them as a deduction as a qualifying relative as long as they made less than $4,400 in 2022 and live with you, right? And you supported more than half of their support. Now, there's a lot of parents that I know that have a lot of kids at home still in their mid-20s.
Trying to figure it out.
So you can still take them.
You can still, as long as they make less than $4,400.
Wow.
Okay. What about our 4-legged dependents? Can we claim them?
Yeah. So my wife got what she thought was a little German Shepherd. It ended up being a Belgian Malinois, and I don't know if you know, but that's one of the 4 dogs you're not supposed to get. And so we had to spend all this money on training, and oh my God, I mean, I've spent like $10,000 just on medical bills the first year.
Your whole tax return.
So what happens is, look, believe it or not, you can't take any dog as a dependent, but
Oh.
there's an exception. What if your dog? What if it's a service dog and you're blind and you have to have this dog and you have to pay for it? Or what if you have a security dog? Can you take it through your business? If it's a security dog, like those junkyard dogs that take care of those businesses, yeah, you actually probably can take the deduction.
Wow.
Wow.
And if it's a service dog, you can take the deduction right under the medical side, under their Schedule A, under the medical. So believe it or not, there are exceptions.
There are
We
exceptions.
might have to
So
get
see if you
Lewis
have
certified.
if you have a service animal.
My dog's name is Lewis, just to reiterate, so
Just
that
so you know.
and we don't have to get you
And
certified.
my dog is a service animal too.
There we go.
Well, look at that.
Well, guess what, Louie? You're gonna get a job this year.
What about parents? Because there are a lot of people
True.
of my generation who are taking care of their parents. Can you claim a parent
You can
as a
for
dependent?
the same as a qualifying relative, and not only that, we have a treaty with Mexico and we have a treaty with Canada. So, if your parent, for example, lives in Mexico and you send money to them and you take care of them, provide more than half of their support, you can even take them as a dependent on your tax return.
What?
People get confused though because sometimes I'll get here because I work with a lot of Latinos, right? And they send money out to Colombia or El Salvador or Honduras, and you can't take them as a deduction because there's no treaty for that. But you can take parents as a deduction as well.
What if you send money to the Bronx? Porque mi mamá puertorriqueña vive en el Bronx.
As long as you're providing more than half of the support, you can take her.
Do they have to live with you? Does the parent have to live with you?
No, the parent does not have to live with you as long as, right? Because again, we have this thing in Mexico, right? In Mexico, they're not living with you, they're living in Canada.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so Miriam's staying put. Now, you know, last but very not least, talk to us about your show,
Come on,
Opportunity Knocks,
I
with
love
the dollar
this.
sign on PBS.
Okay, it's an incredible show with Patrice Washington, Gene Chatsky out of New York, right? You guys have heard of Gene
her.
Chatsky?
Yeah.
So it's a show that works with 6 families. I work with 2 families. We change their lives. It's normal people who are going through financial struggles. They're you know, we work with them emotionally, spiritually, financially to get them back on what we call economic parity. You know, most people living paycheck to paycheck, and really 90% of Americans don't have access to really great financial planners because the financial planning industry is really there to help probably the top 10%. This shows them how to find not only how to find the resources and be resourceful by going to opportunityknocks.net. They will find a thing called an opportunity finder there. If they're going through financial struggles, put in your zip code and you'll find people in your neighborhood who can help you.
Wow.
Get out.
That is a
This
service
is-
indeed. Congratulations on that show,
That is
and dare
good.
I say thank you for doing
Thank you for your service. That's
show
what I
like
was going to
that.
say.
My pleasure, and thank you guys. And I love that couch. Is it new?
It's brand new, babe.
Brand new. You're welcome anytime. There's
Whenever you
plenty of
want.
room.
Brand new.
I'll show up. Don't invite me. I'm
We
Mexican.
are. We
Open
are.
invite.
You know what? We just had queso. We had dips. You come whenever you want. You come on over.
There you go.
In a couple
Okay.
minutes, we'll break out the beverages.
Thank
Lewis,
you,
thank you
Lewis.
so much.
Thank you
Take
so
care,
much.
guys. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.